This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the Narrowgate Security Agency studios.
Going to tell the truth and not couch all of his answers with some poll-tested, kind of namby-pamby, vanilla-flavored answer to anything.
While Democrats, establishment Republicans, and the media try to bring Donald Trump down, Mr. Trump continues to climb in the polls. Now, his opinions on stopping terrorism are under fire. The good news for Trump, people like Governor Palin have his back, as does our guest today. She's part of Texas Women for Trump Coalition. Dena Miller, coming up on Mama Grizzly Radio. Sarah Palin shreds the lamestream media for their coverage of Trump. A brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is on the way from Texas. And just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman in Missouri. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by Narrowgate Security Agency. Learn more at narrowgate.com. Donald Trump, try as they might, and they're trying. From Alinsky tactics to flat-out lies to innuendo, they try to drag Trump down. But each time he climbs in the polls. Sometimes it's brazen, like the disgusting lyrics from Rick Ross or the sick headlines from rags like the Daily News. Other times it's subtle, like calling people Trump bashes esteemed in the headlines in order to sway opinion. But no matter the dirty method, it seems Trump just keeps getting stronger. Today, Dena Miller of Texas Women for Trump Coalition is here to discuss the candidacy of the only candidate that can't be bought and sold. And right now, Dena Miller joins us on the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Dena, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, Texas Women for Trump Coalition, you're a part of that. First, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Trump and why you're supporting him so much that you're going out and doing all this work for him and helping get his name out there. Why Donald Trump for president?
Well, to begin with, I have to say that I personally don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a non-party. I like to look at the person, not the party. And I really encourage people to get off of that mindset that you have to be one or the other. And people need to understand that Donald Trump had to choose a party because he's smart enough of a man to realize he's got to be one or the other, or there's no way he's going to be elected. That's just the truth. That's the way it is. So I get a lot of people that will comment, well, he supported Democrats back when, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right.
So what?
And it's that double standard, too, right? I mean, anything Mr. Trump says is criticized, but if the same thing was said by Barack Obama or by an establishment Republican, they would compliment them for the exact same comments.
Absolutely. And I think he's just kind of just got people completely confuzzled, a word that my daughter likes to use. And I love that he's shaking it up. And I think he's really making people think. He's, and I'm not the first to say it, he's waking people up. He's waking up America, seriously.
Well,
and it's time.
One of the reasons we like him so much, and the reason we like Governor Palin so much on this program is because they're not afraid to speak up and say what they think. Agree, disagree, or not, you're getting the genuine article and you're getting the actual opinion of that person. As you know, in politics and elsewhere, you hear one thing and then they backpedal, and then someone writes them an apology and they read that the next day. And here with Mr. Trump, it's even more impressive to me because people say he doesn't back down, and he doesn't. But anyone can say things. But when you see how the deck is stacked against him, he has Democrats against him, he has establishment Republicans against him, and he has the media against him. So for him to get his message out, he has to get it out on his own and through people like you, which makes it even harder. But like he said just the other day, he's here to stay and here to win.
And with all these against him, his numbers are rising in the polls. Imagine that.
Yeah, every time,
his numbers are rising.
Every time we're told by these geniuses in journalism about how he's done, that's when his numbers soar.
And they want to drill that into our heads because people will believe that.
Absolutely.
What I like, what we refer to as the sheeple that also are convinced I've got to be Democrat or I've got to be Republican. And why do they choose these parties? Honestly, it's the same thing as religion. We do what our parents did, and they do what their parents did, and so on and so on. And we pass it down, right?
Great.
I mean, let's be honest here.
That is great.
Who does their own research and makes up their own mind? I mean, who's doing that? And I have to be honest, my family from rural Missouri has been Republican forever.
Mm-hmm.
My husband's family from Highland Park, Dallas, Texas, huge Republicans. So that's kind of been our thing, just because it was hand me down, hand me down, hand me down. And for many years, we just did that. And then, oh gosh, this is going to sound terrible, but many years, I've been with my husband for a long time, but in our first years, I remember going to vote and my husband giving me a piece of paper that was given to him by his father. And this was who we're all supposed to vote for. And I was like, wow, really? So, as wives, we have to behave ourselves, I guess. So I don't want to make any waves. I take the piece of paper in there and I go ahead and vote for whoever the hell I want to vote for.
Yeah.
But
well,
that's quite common.
Look, I've seen the same things, living right outside of New York City. Growing up, it was, everybody voting down the line Democrat, and then you'd talk to them about an issue, and you'd take the candidates' names out of it, and they'd agree with you 7 out of 10
Yes.
things, but still go ahead and vote for, a congressman or mayor or governor who's, making things worse for everybody. And, the thing about Trump, though, that also people have to really take a look at, and you're not the only one. We had the Stump for Trump girls on here, Diamond and Silk,
Yes.
who are also Democrats and now have changed their party affiliation so they can go ahead and vote for Trump in the primaries. But I love the point you make about, whether it was parents or people handing you a note. Now you know who the parents are. They are the parties. They are the big machine,
Yes.
Democrat Party and Republican Party. In my particular state, you have to be registered in a party to vote in a primary. That's the only reason I'm a Republican any longer. I would have dumped it a few years back.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, those parents or those people who influenced you before have now been replaced by the parties themselves. You get these notes in the mail about here is our endorsed slate.
Oh my God.
And in other words, you vote for them or else. It's this frat union mentality, and it's so therefore, guess what? You're not thinking for yourself.
Yes, we're just inundated. It's crazy. And I loved when I saw Trump on another, speaking to, who was it, Barbara Walters. He's on TV constantly. You don't even see the other guys. He's getting so much airtime. He's in front of your face every time you turn on the TV. They want him. And he, flat out he said, I'm not spending money. I'm self-funded, and I love that, self-funded. I think when we can take the money out of politics, because that's a huge problem, that it doesn't even matter, Democrat, Republican. At the end of the day, when they get in office, then they're being told by all the people that threw money at their campaign, oh, don't forget how much you owe me. And then, so they're bought and paid for. Come on. It doesn't matter who they are, what party they are. Donald Trump is self-funded. He's not going to owe any major corporation, any person, anybody, a dime. And I love that. He's there for America.
Yeah,
and it really it brings back to me, over Thanksgiving holiday, we took our kids to Washington, D.C., and we did some of the tours and everything, and it really made us feel more patriotic than we have in a long time, just being there and seeing all these things and learning the history. And I just never forget, she was our tour guide. George Washington was given the crown. He could have been king.
Yep.
We could be ruled by descendants of George Washington today, but he gave back the crown and the country to its people. And to me, when she said that, that was huge. He was such a selfless man. He gave the country back to its people. And what is happening to America today? The people have got to take back this country. It's crazy. This whole Donald Trump, he's right. I am not racist. It is very sad when people are afraid to speak up because we're trying to be politically correct. No one wants to be called racist. We do not live in a racist society. I do not believe that for 1 minute. This craziness that's going on since Obama has been in office, our country is more racially divided, and it's a sad, sad situation. but we have to secure our borders. Until we figure out what's going on, we have to keep this country and its people safe.
Yeah, and they try to make race even out of issues that have nothing to do with race, like, in other words, Islam. That is not a race. Last time I checked, and you're allowed to be any color to be in the Nation of Islam. So,
exactly.
They do that. But, of course, the whole racial strife with police officers and the way they're but Obama's been a master at that, pitting Americans against Americans, black versus white, man versus woman, poor versus rich, gay versus straight, whatever he can do to make sure that wedge is there and thus get votes out of it. Now, two things you touched on that I want to hit quickly. You mentioned about Trump being on TV. Yeah, I mean, one report says he gets 25 times more media mentions than others, and like you said, he doesn't have to spend any money on it. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I love it.
And as far as George Washington, that's another thing I've talked about Governor Palin and also about Mr. Trump is that reluctant leader. Someone who says, "Hey, all right, I'm going to leave because I have to." And so, like you said, we're not ruled by descendants of Washington. Instead, we're ruled by descendants of Clinton and Bush, right?
It seems that way, doesn't it?
At least they're trying to again.
How did this happen?
Now, you, not unlike Trump and not unlike Palin, are not afraid to voice your opinions. And, Facebook, which, another hypocrisy going on here. Governor Palin a few weeks ago put out a Facebook post, and she's just masterful at social media. And, she says anything just like Trump, and it's everywhere in a moment's notice. And she's really been able to take that new media to a new level. But she was very honest a few months ago saying it's a shame she has to use Facebook because she knows who runs it, she knows where their politics are, and she knows where their money goes. And it goes to a lot of places that most people who vote for common sense and or conservatives don't want it to go. That said, she's out there all the time doing her thing, not afraid to say things. Same with Trump.